Hi guys, how are you? I'm so sorry it's been a while since you last saw me. Obviously, if you watch my last video that I put up, I had a baby, so things have been, just crazy getting used to that whole life. I mean, holy crap. It is different. It is 100% different than what we had going on before. So, geez Louise, this road is uneven. I'm currently on my way to Disney. My shirt says, "What's poppin'?" Because Mary Poppins, get it? So I'm on my way to Disney. I'm meeting Beebs there for Food and Wine. Food and Wine ends November 12th. Today is November... I don't know. 10th, I think. 9th or 10th? I can't. No idea. It's Saturday. And in November. So we are gonna go. Originally I had a C-section and I wasn't sure, if I'd be up for walking around that much and all of that before I actually gave birth. And Beebs was like, I am ready to push you in a wheelchair if I have to. We are ready for this. We're gonna do it. So I'm perfectly fine to walk around, so no wheelchair needed. But I wanted to come on here because I feel terrible that I kind of left you guys hanging. It's been over a month now since I had Peyton. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I would highly recommend it just because it's so much easier to post updates, and I'm putting a lot of baby pictures on there. So if you've been wondering what she looks like, how beautiful she is beautiful and the cutest little thing. I put them on Instagram. If you don't have an Instagram and you're like, but I don't have Instagram, put it on YouTube, I would just say consider joining Instagram because you don't have to post anything on Instagram. You can just follow people. It's just so much easier time-wise to put something up there than it is to do a whole video. Because for all the things I'll probably mention in a little bit here. All right, so October 2nd, 8:39 a.m., Peyton Elizabeth Berryhill was born. She was born at 10 pounds, 2 ounces, and 21 inches long. By the time we left the hospital, we were only in the hospital for 2 days. She was born on a Tuesday morning, and we left Thursday afternoon. By the time we left the hospital, I think she was 9 pounds, 14 ounces, or something like that, but she's... I don't know if it was the first week appointment or second week appointment with her pediatrician, she was back up to birth weight, so it's never been an issue. We were expecting her to be a 10-pound baby because my husband, my sister, my brother, I think my husband's sister, they were all 10-pound babies. I did not have gestational diabetes or anything during my pregnancy. I mean, I had fun with food during my pregnancy, that's for sure, but it's more, I think, coming from the genetic side of things. And in my last couple of videos, I explained why I had to do a C-section. She was frank breech. So she was obviously breech, but then she was folded in half. Essentially, she had her feet up by her ears. And my doctor just wasn't optimistic that she would be able to turn her and that she would stay in that position, because you can turn babies and they'll still turn right back around. And it could have ended up in an emergency C-section anyway, so we went for the planned C-section, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. The surgery was no problem whatsoever. I originally had Googled about a C-section, had gone on Pinterest, looked up C-section recovery, C-section blogs, all that sort of stuff. And that was a mistake. because it was just really started to get kind of terrifying. So I stopped researching it, and I have several friends that had C-sections. So I just went to them and got, kind of advice from them. And the day of, I really just tried to compartmentalize it. So I went in, thinking I have these steps that I have to get through. The first step I have to get through is I have to get to the hospital. I have to I have to get to my room. The next step is I need to get into the gown. I need to, get prepped and whatever. And then the next step is to go to the OR and, all that sort of stuff. I was just trying to pace myself so that I didn't get overwhelmed with the fact that I was having a major surgery. And I was, having this spinal epidural that I believe it's a different level of an epidural than you would have if you were having a vaginal birth. I've never had that kind of anesthesia. I've never had, I've gone under for my wisdom teeth, but, that's just, I think that's just gas, or I don't remember. It was so long ago. So, yeah, that's how I try to handle the surgery, just so that I didn't freak out, because I was afraid that I was going to get very, very emotional, start crying, and get really upset because I was so scared. But honestly, I was really calm, cool, and collected, if I do say so myself. So, after the C-section, she was here. She was absolutely perfect. She had no complications whatsoever. She, at the hospital that she was born at, or born in, they do room in, so she was with us the entire time. I had no complications immediately after surgery. So, so what happened was, my family was there, my parents, my sister, she brought my nephew, and then Chad's parents were all there right when we came out of surgery. So they were able to come to the room pretty much immediately after we were done. And we have some great pictures from the birth. Again, if you've been on Instagram, you'll see them already, but I'll put pictures of her in the video so that you guys can see her. And the night of the C-section, so again, I had it the very early morning-ish, the night of, oh God, I'm gonna be doing that a lot. The night after the C-section, that same day, they wanted me to get out of bed and walk to a chair. So that was pretty intense. The surgery was no issue. That was the easy part, in my opinion. And the anesthesia was serious. I had a really fantastic anesthesiologist. Oh gosh, he was so great. I wish I could remember his name. I think his name was Thomas. He was so fantastic. He was really concerned about how are you feeling? How are you doing? He was checking in on me. Chad was there, but he was still very I don't know. He had a wonderful bedside manner. So I had to get up out of bed, walk to the chair. That was intense. I had to get up and try and use the restroom after they took the catheter out. So that was major. Once the entire anesthesia wore off, I was just on Motrin. They had just given me Motrin, which I believe is just glorified ibuprofen. Ibuprofen, first of all, does nothing for me. I think that's what Motrin is. I don't know. I don't take Motrin on a daily basis, but it was not enough. It was not touching the pain that I was having. So I was added, or they were going to give me Percocet. So I had Percocet as well. My gosh, this light is so short. So yes, the pain after was quite intense. I mean, I have a pretty low pain tolerance, so it definitely brought me to tears. I was sobbing. It was a lot. But I would still do a C-section again. I mean, I think I most likely would have to, but I would still opt for a C-section again, because I prefer to know when it's going to happen and what's going to happen. So, we went home on Thursday afternoon. The discharge took forever. But we got home, and that whole kind of week after was so hold on. I don't want to cry because I'm going to Disney and I'm not wearing waterproof makeup, but anyway, it was so rough. It it was something I wasn't expecting. You hear about postpartum and like baby blues, and I had read about how C-section recovery and the pain and getting around and all of that is kind of tough, but it was just something I don't know that I could have been prepared for without having done it, if that makes sense. Like, all of the friends that I have could have told me about their experiences with being postpartum, the baby blues, all of the emotions, and I still don't know that I would have been even remotely prepared for going through it, because it was rough. It was very, very hard. Thank goodness for my husband, who was my champion through it. First of all, there were kind of levels to this postpartum period. The pain was intense, even on pain medication. And I'm not used to being in that kind of situation where I'm not able to do stuff. I'm not able to, just walk at my normal speed. I'm not able to stand up for a long period of time. I'm not able to shower standing up. Like, I had to get a shower chair. I wasn't, so that's all pain related. Then it's this massive life change. So just like I wasn't able to do things because of my pain, I wasn't able to shower whenever I felt like it. Like, I wasn't able to sleep if I wanted to. You know what I mean? It was just like oh my God, like, just the impact that it has on what you knew your life to be. It was huge. And then, you know, feeling like you don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing for her. I don't know what that means when she's crying. I don't know what to do when I've done everything that I know to do and she's still crying. I don't know. It was so much. And it's, don't get me wrong, it's still quite a bit. It's still a lot now, but at least the pain is gone. Other than I have some nerve sensitivity. So when I, like, for example, if I'm holding her up here and she's like wiggling and upset or whatever, she starts kicking her legs. If she kicks my lower abdomen, it definitely hurts. So, I mean, I want to be as honest as possible in this video, although I don't know that I can make it through without sobbing. But, like, I was crying and I put this in an Instagram post, I was crying for all the reasons. I was crying because I was in pain. I was crying because I couldn't move like I wanted to. I was crying because I was crying because people were doing things for me. I was crying because people showed up for me. I was crying because I had cried earlier that day and I had thought about it. I was crying because I didn't know why I was crying. I was crying because I was crying because of that huge life change. I was crying because I don't know. I mean, I'm sure sleep deprivation. I was crying because I didn't want Chad to see me crying. I was crying because I felt like I was putting all of it on Chad, but he was happy, you know, to do it for me. I was crying and upset because I had thought to myself, what have we done? Like, how could we have done this? Now our lives will never be the same, and I saw it almost in a negative light at that point. But, of course, it's not negative. It is a positive. But it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I knew that having a child was what we wanted to do, and I knew having a child was a positive thing, and you know, I'm so excited to just see where our family goes. But at that moment, like, your brain isn't, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I did have that thought, like, what have we done? I had thoughts of, like, I kind of want this time to just pass already. Like, I'm ready for her to be 6 months old or something. You know, like, was wishing that time away. And again, now that I'm in a much more stable mental state, of course I don't want to wish that time away. I'm already, you know, sad that she's over a month old and that she's growing already. So that was the first maybe 2 weeks after giving birth. Kind of had all that going on. Right around the 2-week mark, I was starting to have days where I wouldn't cry, and that was something to be excited about at that point. I don't really feel lonely during the day anymore. I was even having like a physical reaction to having to deal with her. I was, my stomach would start hurting if she started to cry, or if my husband was maybe in the shower and I was on duty, I would get almost ill. It doesn't happen anymore. I'm much more comfortable dealing with her and taking care of whatever she needs. I don't know if I need to say this, but I don't want this to sound like I was ungrateful or that I didn't want to have my child. I absolutely did, but it's that, like what I said, I could not explain the postpartum emotions. So again, my husband was amazing, continues to be amazing, but he really took everything over when I couldn't do as much, and was beyond supportive. Now, again, I am much more stable. I feel pretty much normal now. I'm concerned that she might have colic. Well, not concerned because you can't really do anything about it, but I think she might have colic a little bit, because she seems to cry for an unknown reason to me. Meaning she's been changed, she's eaten, we've burped her, it could be gas that we don't know about, whatever, but, so I'm afraid of colic. I'm very afraid of colic. She does cry pretty hard. She has always cried hard. She just goes from 0 to 60 in no time. So when she cries and it's for some unforeseen reason, I just try and console her, but nothing typically seems to help. So we just kind of have to wait it out. I'll hold her and I'll rub her back and I'll, rock her and try different things, different positions, standing up, bouncing, whatever, everything. Bicycle legs, putting her on her back, all that sort of stuff we have tried. But they still typically don't help with whatever's going on. The only thing that helps is just waiting it out. So that's what we've been doing, waiting it out. And in those times, that's where she can break me. She can get me in those moments, because yesterday was just, for whatever reason, was a particularly bad day. I mean, she had cried for probably an hour earlier in the day, and you know, I mean, that's not a long time. That colic is, I think, defined as 3 hours 3 times a week for 3 weeks. So, you know, an hour isn't a particularly long time, and I know other people that deal with it much worse than that. But for whatever reason, it was a lot for me yesterday. So yesterday was kind of a bad day, but Chad came home, you know, in the evening, and he took her and did the best he could, and we just got through it. She sleeps really well at night. Normally she will eat somewhere around 7 to 8-ish, and then she will sleep until 11 or midnight, maybe even longer than that. She usually gets up one time. I consider the middle of the night. You know, if she gets up at 12:30, 1 o'clock, that's not, I don't know. For whatever reason, I don't consider that middle of the night. So she will sleep until about like 4. She's been getting up around 4. Obviously, this depends on where she ate the last time, but usually she gets up around 4. I take care of her. I change her, feed her, console her, put her back to bed, and then she's been getting up maybe around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Chad typically handles her in the morning before he goes to work, and then of course I have her all day. And then Chad comes home, and depending on where, you know, if she's just eaten or if she still needs to eat, he will feed her, and that's kind of how we've been doing things. She is formula fed, and I did nurse a little bit in the hospital, but we had they had brought those like ready-made formula bottles to us, so we were using those as well. I fully intended to pump when I got home from the hospital, and I did start pumping, but it was just too much for me to keep up with. You know, I am home by myself during the day, which I know is normal, and for whatever reason, I just didn't feel comfortable pumping because I was afraid she would wake up, you know, and need me immediately, and I would be strapped to something, or you know, so I didn't feel comfortable pumping during the day, so I would pump when Chad came home. But then it was just so much to keep up with, washing the parts, sterilizing the parts, remembering to pump in the evening. And even then, it's like, I've done baby stuff all day. I don't want to do this baby thing, you know, like I just want time where I'm not doing baby stuff. So I eventually just stopped. You know, and she's doing perfectly fine. So I did have some guilt about stopping, or even thinking about stopping. But I think the closer I got to emotionally stable, the less guilt I felt. I was really wanting to pump for a very selfish reason. I wanted weight loss. Like, I wanted the benefit of that quicker weight loss with pumping because I wasn't nursing. I did nurse on and off. Sometimes I tried in the middle of the night, but I don't know if it's because she slept so long that she kind of got hungry or what, but she would get very frustrated when she was trying to latch and she couldn't calm down. So we really, you know, instead of her continuing to get more and more upset, we moved to the bottle. But I mean, it was always my plan to bottle feed her because of my job and how I have to travel for several weeks at a time. It was always my plan to make sure she was bottle fed. That's why I was okay with pumping, because she would be eating from a bottle, because she has to be able to eat from a bottle when I'm traveling. So that's why we started out from the beginning with bottles. And all of it's working perfectly fine. She is healthy and happy. She is now 11 pounds, I think 4 ounces, and 22¼ inches long. She just had her 1 month appointment. Her 1 month was November 2nd, so she's about maybe a month and a week now. She is the sweetest little thing. And everyone seems to think that she looks just like me, which I'm fine with. But I mean, when she was born, I just felt like she was the perfect blend of Chad and I just saw both of us in her so much, and I just love that. I love that both of us are in her, and you can see it, I feel like. Let's see. Oh, I mean, recovery-wise, I am 100%. I mean, I believe I am healed. I was cleared to drive at 2 weeks. My 2-week visit, I was cleared to do kind of walking at 2-week visit. So I've been trying to walk. Well, I did it once. I walked both of them, Marley and Peyton. And it was kind of tough. It was hard to walk Peyton in the stroller when Marley was on the leash, because she kind of pulls and she wants, the walk has been her thing this whole time, so she wants to do what she wants to do. And she's been cooped up and, all of that. And of course, there's this new thing in our house, and it's not all about her anymore. So it was kind of tough to walk them both. I did get a fabric wrap. It's called a Solly, Solly. Cherie from Motivated Muffins had mentioned it, so I went ahead and bought one. I've tried Peyton in it, just in the house, but I haven't gone on a walk yet. So I'm hoping that helps with the walk, so that I can put her in there and then walk Marley on the leash, and that will be a little bit easier. But I have been able to take Marley out just by herself when Chad gets home. So that has been good. I wanted to have some Marley and mom time for sure. I'm sorry if the angle changed a little bit. I had to take my phone off the holder. I got a new phone holder thanks to Jess from, I believe it's still Weight Watchers Journey to Healthy. She sent me the link to the mount that she has, and I think it's working out really well so far. So I believe that is my update. Again, I just wanted to come on here and give you guys the lowdown on what's been going on since I've been away for, I'm sure, what feels like forever to you guys, but to me it feels like no time at all. I was thinking the other day that I was going into maternity leave thinking, oh my God, 3 months. 3 months is such a long time. Like, I'm going to be able to get so much done in those 3 months. And now a month of it's already gone. And I'm like, what? So now, and we're halfway into November. I'm going to be returning to work January 2nd. I had saved up all of my paid vacation. I have short-term disability with my company. So all of that will allow me to be out of work paid until January 2nd. So I'll be returning to work January 2nd. Oh no air quotes. I will actually be returning. So yeah, I think that's it for now. But like I said, Beebs and I are going to Food and Wine, so we're going early. So if we leave and there's still daylight out, I will come back on here and chat with you guys. Okay. If not, I hope you enjoyed. Leave me some fun comments. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Bye.